On today's wrestling news, an update on Tiffany Stratton's WWE future after her social media controversy.
Konosuke Takeshita speaks candidly on his AEW booking.
A Ring of Honor star is out indefinitely.
And did CJ Perry burn down Liv Morgan's house? We'll tell you.
Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. Only one place to start today, though, Hamflett, and that is with Tiffany Stratton. Load of talk about this online over the last few days. And last night it appeared as though she was gone from this week's episode of SmackDown and potentially gone from the Queen of the Ring tournament. If you're unaware, I'll bring you up to date. PW Insider confirmed a big update on the recent NXT call-up after rumours about her match with Bianca Belair from tonight's SmackDown being pulled due to an insensitive post she shared on her Instagram earlier on in the week. It was removed from the WWE.com lineup. PW Insider writing, there has been a social media rumour making the rounds over the last days that Stratton was in trouble for a posting she allegedly made, which then fed into a story that her Queen of the Ring tournament match against Bianca Belair was pulled. It has not and was not, we are told, after speaking to several credible sources, we are told she's absolutely not in trouble for anything internally within WWE, and that Stratton's been nothing but praised by management and other talent since moving to the main roster a few months back. Despite the rumours, we are told that Stratton's status within the company is unchanged. She remains on good footing, and she's seen by someone with a very high upside by management. As I mentioned, she is facing Bianca Belair in the Queen of the Ring quarterfinals on SmackDown tonight. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair's tag team partner, fellow tag team champion Jade Cargill, takes on the eventual Queen of the Ring, in my opinion, Nia Jax.
Yeah, don't want to shine too much spotlight on the post itself, but it was thoughtless to say the least to share broadcast any of that sort of stuff. But yeah, the big sort of tipping point in the story, wasn't it, was when the SmackDown card is typically lined up, line by line on WWE.com, and that match was taken from it completely, which is missing. And then somebody found the WWE.com page where it existed, so it was almost like, so they had done it, and then it had been left somehow off this. And yeah, this report seems to confirm otherwise. Maybe they'd been, what might have been discovered might have been true, I suppose. Yeah. Maybe there'd been sort of initial findings and then they changed their mind, who knows. But yes, as of tonight at least, Tiffany Stratton will still compete in the King and Queen of the Ring matches on the SmackDown side. Yeah,
I'm glad about that in terms of I think she's a phenomenal wrestler. Just basically, we can all learn from this, just think before you hit post on any social media platforms, because you can't post insensitive stuff and just think, that'll be fine. If you don't like it, deal with it. No, just how about we just don't do it?
Actions have consequences, and I guess in this case they've been meted out in a way that WWE at least deem fair or whatever.
Especially because we reported earlier on the week potentially she could be making the final.
Yeah, indeed, that was it. There was the graphic sort of potentially spoiled her and Lara Valkyria in their potential gear for a Saudi Arabia show should we work it. But I guess we'll see. Yeah. Tonight's SmackDown, a full preview of that coming on our SmackDown podcast later on today.
Can't wait.
Look forward to us maybe getting to the matches on that.
Yeah, we'll get around to it eventually.
If you know, you know. Over to AEW now. Konosuke Takeshita has been speaking to DDT Pro about his time in America thus far. He's been with AEW now sort of a little over a year, because he turned heel at Double or Nothing last year, joining up with the Callis family. And he's spoken a little bit about the trials and tribulations, I guess, of working in America full-time for the first time. The quote was, I thought hard work could cover everything else before getting there if I showed how good I am and could get more airtime, but there are other aspects that come into play when competing in America. It goes on to sort of talk about how it's more difficult for Asian talent, and it's something we've sort of seen across WWE for decades, realistically, and it's maybe something that Takeshita is identifying is perhaps still in play a little bit in North America in general. He says, quote, discrimination is not the word here, but unfortunately there's a lack of space for an Asian person to be on a TV show watched by Americans. No matter how good my condition was, nor the amount of matches I was put in, or how many times they said my match was good, it felt like I couldn't be put in the starting lineup, to put it in baseball terms. Everyone felt like they're having fun in wrestling in Japan. I didn't have any fun wrestling since I got to America. Quote, the effort was bearing fruit, but I didn't feel the enjoyment. It was the most mentally exhausting period in all 12 years of my wrestling career. However, when I stopped having fun, my matches were better received and I gained more recognition. It's not proportional. So that's interesting. Obviously speaks about his time in Japan and being able to enjoy his work a little bit more, but switching off and just hitting the grind maybe has been part of producing some of those incredible matches. Yeah. But there's a sense of frustration here that maybe those matches didn't yield the profile he might have expected.
And I can understand that. I think Takeshita's a brilliant addition to the AEW roster, and I'm always shocked that he isn't utilised more, and how often when he is utilised, it's just he's lost again. Yeah. He's had some absolute rippers. The Ospreay match is an obvious one to mention from this year, but I can't think of many bad singles matches he's had in AEW, and he's always someone who I was like, well, if they're going to do a rocket strap, really quick push for someone, why not someone like Takeshita? Obviously, he's limited being, not from America and all the baggage that comes with that, as you say. But you've got Don Callis with him. He's got a mouthpiece there, effectively. I'm surprised he hasn't done more stuff in AEW, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are wrestlers that fall into traps on television sometimes, and I don't think he's wide of the mark to say as well that this does happen to Asian or non-American speakers, first language wrestlers as well. It's kind of a worst of both worlds situation, in my opinion, with Takeshita right now, because here is a guy that is having matches that make fans, us, everybody, want to see him more, but then he continues to lose and we don't care.
Yeah.
So not only are you not seeing the wrestler you like, it's making you sort of doubt the value of wins and losses, because the results haven't really mattered. Has it made you want to see him less?
No.
The fact that he seems to lose way more than he wins? Not one bit.
Great German on Mox on Dynamite as well.
Oh, incredible. And then he sort of wants the title and you're like, okay, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that his record probably wouldn't support it. The booking doesn't, feels betrayed by how good he looks.
And a quick word on another interview that's happened this week, another brilliant interview from Andrew Pollard with our Ricky Starks interview that went out a few days ago. We haven't said to talk about this, but I just want to clarify something, because a lot of people online seem to be extrapolating something from the interview that wasn't mentioned. The fact that Ricky Starks didn't talk too much in detail about Tony Khan, for example, has led people to think, oh, what does all that mean?
Yeah.
Right. The lack of mention of something doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. As a result, we've posted some off-the-record comments, which are now, I suppose, technically on the record, but just to tidy it up, because we don't want to get Ricky Starks in trouble or anything like that. He's a lovely guy, and there aren't the issues.
The whole video is there for you to see this for yourself as well.
There aren't the issues I think people maybe have assumed there are off the back of that video. So if you want to check that out, whatculture.com, and on this channel right now, you can watch the brilliant Pollard interviewing Ricky Starks. Just absolute peace, and he's brilliant, and I'm excited to see what he does in the rest of this year.
Great work from both those hunks all the way around.
Indeed.
If you ask me, that video.
A bit of a sad update now for an AEW star, but mainly a Ring of Honor star right now. She's made some appearances on Dark and Dark Elevation last year, but she's known mostly for her appearances in Ring of Honor. I'm talking of Charlotte Renegade of the Renegades. Fightful Select, unfortunately, informing us that she's been battling concussion issues. That's why she's been out of action, by the way, if you're wondering where she's been. Her sister Robin has been working on Ring of Honor and AEW occasionally. But unfortunately, there is no specific timetable on a return, as we talked about with Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
I said before, you don't never want to wish an injury on anyone, but if it is going to be an injury, you almost want it to be a broken bone, because you go right, a broken bone equals X amount of time, but at the end of that time, all going well, they can step back into a ring. Concussion issues, it could be gone within a week, or it could be for literally the rest of your career. It could end your career. So we all, at What Culture, wish Charlotte Renegade well in her recovery.
Yeah, it's just, you've kind of hit the nail on the head there, really, no pun intended there. It's concussions in wrestling are about as bad as it gets, because not only, of course, are you suffering through this right now, obviously, you think of the time that it took Dan O'Brien to get cleared, and that was through his own personal journey of discovery, I guess, a voyage of discovery into various medical science to make it so. Every bump and every bruise and bump and all that sort of thing hurts, clearly. But as to your point, as much as it would be awful to get a broken arm, you can look at that as a timetable, can't you, with concussion issues? You can't, and then not else. How does it affect your quality of life otherwise? And do you have to ask the very serious questions about staying wrestling afterwards, because one more rattle off another bump, that could be you back on the shelf and all that. So it's just to get well soon, and a reminder. I think we try to make this point as much as possible, even when we're in the critical space, of just how insane a job pro wrestling is, and we are grateful for all of them that choose to do it. We'll fall on the floor really, really hard right now.
Not, no,
I don't want to either. It's a strange old game, but get well soon.
Yeah.
And to Wheeler Yuta as well. I do sort of, I don't forget, but yes, it's. All right, we're gonna shift this onto a sillier story to sort of bring the Friday tone up.
Okay.
I don't get to do this normally, so I'm maybe abusing my position here. Can I sing a story, Tyler, rather than say one?
I really thought you were going to say, can I burn down your house? So absolutely.
I'll give it a go. Hang on. I burned down your kitchen. Right, no, yeah, so CJ
Who's
Perry.
it? Tom Jones burning down the house?
365 degrees.
Burning down the house!
Is what CJ Perry almost did to her best friend.
Everyone's fine.
Everybody's fine. Everybody's absolutely fine, so it's just a funny story from Liv Morgan sharing. I'm just going to read the story from Liv herself. So, like 2 weeks ago, I'm flying home from Monday Night Raw, and CJ Perry is staying at my house. We're best friends. She's staying at my house, and she's like, do you want tacos? And I'm like, yeah. So she puts taco shells in the oven because she wants to toast them a little bit. And in typical CJ fashion, she hit broil instead of bake. I don't know if you know what broil is, but broil is like fire.
Jesus.
So pretty much my oven went on fire, and we're like, oh my God, I know I have a fire extinguisher, and I know how to use a fire extinguisher because of Extreme Rules 2022.
Hey, there you go.
So I swear, in that moment, you don't even know. I'm like, thank you, wrestling. I put out the oven fire, and then it burst into flames again. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, so I put out the fire again. So it's just Liv Morgan remembering the last hardcore match she had going, psh, 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 because CJ Perry wanted tacos. I love this goddamn business, brother, let me tell you. Everyone is absolutely fine. We just thought it was a nice bit of Friday patter. Send the week out on a high.
The boogie was, the roof was on fire apparently. That's what some people were saying.
It would, I feel like...
She actually drew a sort of sketch of her house, the layout of her house, so you can see where the kitchen is. And I was like, she drew a dog.
Your worst is it like fire kills in seconds, smoke kills in minutes, or whichever way around it.
Yes.
We would be, we're going to get... I'd have to do this. I don't like to be a music snob, but the comments are going to go insane if we don't clarify that, of course, Burn Down the House was, of course, a Talking Heads song first.
Yes.
There will be some angry
yeah.
and David Byrne fans that will be raging at you for that.
Tom Jones did it better. I don't know what to tell you.
And I'm out of this one. I'm going to leave the burning building of that comment.
Yeah, I'm glad they're all right. We've all got that one, mate, haven't we?
Well, nah.
What are you doing? We haven't got a broil setting, do we, in the UK?
Why no? What is broil? Let us know in the comments.
Broil Rumble.
Broil in the bank rather than broil in the bag.
Yeah.
Shove the briefcase. It's like when Karen Cross gave Keith Lee that contract. Oh goodness, it's fire.
Taco's on fire. Why do you need that setting? What are you using that for?
Fire, yeah.
I've never heard, can I have a nice broiled bit of pork, please? What? It's broil.
Broiled bacon. A nice broiled bit of... That sounds awful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you broil cereal?
They had that amazing food in Texas.
I saw a great...
That probably was broiled now, I'm so stupid.
Speaking about cooking, I saw a fantastic post on X. It was one of them, like, confession things, but nobody will ever believe you. Somebody said, and like, I promise you this happened and nobody believes me, said that his toast popped out of his toaster once and it popped so high that it went in one of the other slots. And he was like, ah! And nobody was there.
Yeah, he never gets...
It's like, did it happen? We don't know.
Well, if you like wrestlers and food, let me just tell you, wrestle culture might be for you today with a hashtag bloody good quiz. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to your 28 questions at What Culture WWE and X. Of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from David Newport. Thank you for your question, David. And also, if you want to hear us answer more questions, we filmed a Q&A on the What Culture Wrestling podcast channel yesterday as well. Anyway, David says... when do you think the big Uncle Howdy / Wyatt 6 reveal will happen? Something's happening soon, but when? Is it a random Raw or SmackDown, King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, or the next PLE? Thoughts?
Oh, television, I think.
It's quickening up, isn't it now?
It is. The commentators are
Someone on Twitch or something last night, I think.
Oh, they brought back the... they had like some therapist skits.
That's it, yeah.
The Fiend did like maybe the last of them. And then the Fiend was in the therapist's chair and the therapist had disappeared. I think she'd done one with like Bailey and a couple of other people for TV spots maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
That therapist returned and was asking, how are you getting on? And the idea was she was speaking to somebody associated with this Wire act. I think it was invaded like a Twitch stream or something. Commentators are acknowledging the QR codes at this point as well. It's incoming. I don't think it'll be King, Queen of the Ring, but maybe I'm only saying that because it's one of the Saudi Arabia pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it was a traditional...
I know he did stuff, obviously, with in Saudi, but...
I don't know, a big angle, isn't it? It's a
they
big
want that reaction,
angle.
don't they, in the Saudi? It's a different...
I think this could be used to pop a massive TV number. I think if you think about the buzz around Extreme Rules and the reveal of the White Rabbit and Bray's return in 2022, I think now it's more of it, because everybody knows it's occurring, it'll just be like, right, it's this Raw or it's this
they'll
SmackDown.
They'll make it appointment viewing, yeah.
So I think...
I'm annoyed Raw's not on May 19th, genuinely.
Oh, yeah, that would have been perfect, wouldn't it? Within the next month, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Get ready for it.
Build to the next page. What's the next one?
Where are we at in the calendar?
Oh, God, it's Clash at the Castle.
It's going to be Clash at the Castle in Scotland and then Money in the Bank in Toronto, so yeah, possibly for one of those two.
Yeah, maybe if I was going to guess, I'd say probably after Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, you think?
But we'll wait and see. But yeah, keep an eye out for more of those clues that the breadcrumbs they are leaving. Jack says, all right, lads, good morning. Morning, Jack.
Morning, Jack.
Hope all's well. WWE coming to Glasgow. It seems they are pushing to get a lot of the Scottish roster to feature. Obviously, we mentioned Gallett's being called up yesterday, for example. Do you think there's a chance we'll see Noam Dar pop up in any way. Maybe I'm biased, but hashtag no pinky, no party. Take care. I think we've changed our opinion on Noam Dar. Not that we disliked him, but we really like the metaphor in NXT right now, don't we? I'd have Noam on the Clash of the Castle card.
I think if you can find a way, it's a nice thing to do.
He's brilliant at hosting Stand and Deliver.
He certainly was. The metaphor is like a kind of inspired bit of business, really. Taking 4 disparate parts and having them all come together and feel like they arrived in wrestling together all fun.
Yeah.
And it's one of those acts. Every week you can check them out on NXT, and if you don't,
if they put that on, they could put the Noam Dar Trick Williams match on Clash of the Castle. People love Trick.
You know, to go back to that question and to link it to the first one as well, one of the rumoured members of this white group is Nikki Cross, of course.
Yes.
So, like, if they were to launch them before Clash or around Clash, then that would be her getting onto that show as well. I like the sort of stuff. It didn't happen that much for the first Clash at the Castle, did it? There were a lot of Welsh talent on the roster at the time that didn't make it onto that show. So these things aren't guaranteed, I guess. Baron Corbin didn't make it onto Backlash. So not everybody's getting their hometown pots. But, if you can, you should. I think it's a nice thing to do.
So when it comes to a Noam Dar appearance, you're not saying no, you're saying yes.
Why not? I wasn't expecting the yes.
People are commenting just how much they love the two of us. Serious start this week on the news.
Well, he's back on Monday, I think.
Yeah, don't worry.
Stick around, please.
Sean Acklin, legendary commenter. Thank you as always for your question, Sean. Hello, fine wrestling news fellows. Wrestling pay-per-view theme songs are a pleasant source for certified bangers. True. Backlash France's War is one of those.
That's great, isn't it?
What wrestling pay-per-view theme song do you think people need to listen to?
This is a teaser for a longer discussion we have this on the What Culture Wrestling podcast channel.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give my answer from that, but we do go longer on this. Ladies and Gentlemen by Saliva is, for me, is it the best WrestleMania theme? I don't know, because the standard is incredibly high, but it's certainly the most underrated.
I love The Weeknd.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? The joke about we're not sick of The Weeknd. All of them were good.
Nah, it's the best.
36, 37,
Obviously, you got My
39,
Way, Green Lights. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick? I want to pick a different one.
Okay.
Not a WrestleMania one, a Royal Rumble one, in fact.
Okay.
From, I'm going to guess, like 2013, 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
A band called Clement Marfo and the Frontline,
right?
Who I actually randomly was lucky enough to interview when I was in commercial radio. Lovely bloke, Clement Marfo. Champion, which accompanied The Rock versus CM Punk. Absolute certified classic.
Yeah.
Give it a listen today.
Can we, if we were to, what's the band called again?
Clement Marfo and the Frontline.
If we were to Google them and your name, would we find your picture at the local radio station? I love those when it's like,
I don't know, maybe.
I interviewed those once, and I just go back to my desk and go, there he is. There's Will One with There's Will One playing table tennis with your latest favourite pop star.
Shout out John Newman.
It's all good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I like that. There was another
Weird,
one as well.
different life of mine, that, innit?
It is. And I was like, but I can see how you're in it. There was another Rumble one as well, but like WWE were obsessed with that guy for a bit. Do you remember the name Kevin Rudolph?
Let it rock.
I'm alive.
I remember hearing the song and I was like, this is a banger. And then I was like, whose dad's been late on the stage?
It was good though.
Had Lil Wayne as well involved in it. Let It Rock. He's in Little Ray Rock, wasn't he?
Possibly. I don't like...
Better performance than WrestleMania regardless.
I'm not...
Jesus, Wayne, what's going on, mate?
I'm not necessarily suggesting that like he's the nicest guy, but... Bright lights and big city for SummerSlam, maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right.
That was great.
Yeah, that was an absolute banger.
But, you got to be careful who you're putting over these days.
Indeed, yeah. There's quite a few that were like, no. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on that and all the questions and all the stuff we talked about in the comment section below. And you know what? We mentioned the Ricky Starks interview with the brilliant Andrew Pollard. You check it out right here. Have a good weekend.